So, well, welcome to the people who were not here before. What we're doing now, we are explaining the precepts tomorrow that some of us, or all of us, will take tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. You're very welcome to stay if you're interested in that. And because we are in the middle of a Medicine Buddha retreat, and afterwards we do the practice, we'll do the sadhana, which is quite a lot of prayers and recitation. So it's not so much of a teaching. I don't know if you knew about that. Did you know about that? Okay, so, if it's okay for you, then you can stay. If you feel like you're getting bored in the middle of it, and that's not what you wanted, then just get up and just go. There's absolutely no problem, but the only thing I would like you to do is as you go out, just turn around and say goodbye. So you're not sneaking out, so you're not going out... So you're not going out with a bad conscience, kind of, I wonder if I disturb, I wonder what she thinks. I'm not thinking anything, you are absolutely free to do whatever you want to do. As long as we're here and then we meditate, it's good if it's quiet, that people don't start yodeling or something like that. But if they want to go home and yodel, that's perfectly fine with me. There's absolutely no problem there. But the thing is, as you go out, to just say goodbye, so that we make nice human contact with each other. So we were talking about the prostrations. So they are in this book also. So if we go morning prayers here, there's a tag right at the beginning where it says morning prayers. And then you have some mantras there at the beginning. This is good to say in the morning. Then taking the 8 Mahayana precepts. That will come to it in a minute. And then page 29, the Bodhisattva's Confession of Moral Downfalls. And Maureen said there is a picture of the 35 Buddhas in the prayer book. Well, in some of them, but not in mine. So maybe you have... Huh? The old books have them and the new ones don't have them anymore. So anybody has those 35 Buddhas? Yeah, so you can just have a look. This is how they look. Maybe you can share a bit. You can, if you do have them. Maybe, can I have a book which has them? Then I can just... Huh? Oh, so maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. That's a good idea. Opposite... No, I still don't have them, I think. Oh, okay. So maybe they're hiding somewhere. So this is how it looks, for those who don't have it. So you have... It looks as some people over there have. So you have Shakyamuni Buddha here. Again, this is why we know about the 35 Buddhas. It's because of Shakyamuni Buddha. Then light rays are going out from his heart. So you have the first row of blue ones. Then have the next row of white ones. So first is 6, then is 7 white ones, then 7 yellow ones, 7 red ones, and 7 green ones. And then at the bottom are the second last row is again the Medicine Buddhas, 7 Medicine Buddhas and Shakyamuni Buddha, and then is offering goddesses at the bottom. Yeah. So then how we will do that is just I will recite the names. Each name 3 times while you do the prostrations. Tomorrow morning, after taking the precepts. So why do we take precepts? We take precepts or vows in order to purify negative karma and in order to create a lot of virtue. So the virtue is created by the motivation. I want to take precepts or vows because I want to stop harming others. Morality can be kind of practiced on different levels. Like the lowest level is just for myself because I don't want to suffer, so therefore I'm not doing negative karma. That is, by the way, although it is the lowest level, that's very, very good. You should never denigrate anybody and say, that's a selfish person, they're not doing any negative actions because they're concerned about their own happiness. That's a very good thing. I love people like that. I love people who don't steal, who don't kill, who don't take away the partners I don't have. who don't lie, who don't gossip about me, who don't slander about me like that. I like them. I don't care what kind of motivation they have. If even they have this, the so-called lowest motivation, perfectly fine with me. Much better the lowest motivation than doing negativities. Yeah. So we should never look down on those people. That's great, because the thing is, you see, if you say, I don't want to be like this because that is very selfish, but I want to do that for others, you will not be able to do that for others. Abstaining from negative actions. If you're not even able to do that for yourself, because all of us, we are the center of the universe when it comes down to it, it's a big, big, big illusion thinking we can do it for the sake of others. Yeah. If we don't have enough energy to abstain from negative actions for our own sake, we will not be able to do this for the sake of others. So we are moral when it comes down, like for the sake of others. We are moral as long as it comes easy and as long as it doesn't cost anything. That's how far our ethical conduct goes, if we're very honest, isn't it? If it starts to become expensive and we lose money, finished. That's why the planet is just about to be destroyed, because it's too expensive to save it. And I don't know how people reason like this, and then what, what shall we do with the money, Because the more money we have, the quicker it will burn. Money is all made of paper. That was a joke, by the way. His Holiness makes jokes like this sometimes. He said, I think it was in Israel, many years ago, he said, if we really want to save this lovely, beautiful, little blue planet, we have to eliminate humanity. And he burst out laughing. And he just couldn't stop laughing anymore. People were shocked. Especially, this is how he cuts through kind of, saying something like this in Israel, where Holocaust is still so present everywhere. There's always memorial days, about 3, 4, 5 times a year. The Holocaust is so present. That's why they have such big problems, because they're still holding on to this. Saying something like this in a place like this, he completely cuts through this thing that this is such a bad thing, and whatever, So. And then he burst out laughing, and then he said, oh, of course, this is not possible, and anyway, it's silly. But, yeah, he said it with a very naughty face. But he's right. I mean, he's right. If we really want to reverse the whole process now, that's the only thing we could do. Get rid of the people who drive the cars and who fly the aeroplanes and who need the heating and the air conditioning and all that. Then maybe the planet could recover. Maybe. But as long as we, and we keep multiplying so quick. Yeah. And see, this is, I don't know if you've seen Al Gore's film, it's great. I mean, one thing that I really liked in there was like one sentence where he said, we have new technologies, but we haven't changed our habits. And that's the problem. If we have new technologies, we have to change our habits, the habits of going to war, for example. Yeah. We have to change that. Solving problems through fighting, we have to change that, because with the new technology it's detrimental. Yeah. Or just, throwing things out and doing whatever we want to do. That's an old habit. Yeah. But all with the new technology, kind of wanting comfort and like this, it's like it destroys the planet. So like this. So taking vows is one makes a conscious decision, one pledges something. And actually that movie is very, very good. The problem is we go out of there and we say, oh yeah, very nice, and we continue with the old habits. So what actually should happen, maybe if somebody is local and can kind of initiate that, to have a discussion at the end of the movie and people pledge something. That's the only way people will change, if you make them pledge something, Then it's up to them whether they want to keep it or not. So this is why we take vows. One pledges something. One vows not to kill. Those are the 8 vows that you take. Yeah? You pledge not to kill. Even mosquitoes. Somebody who is out to get 3 drops of your blood. Yeah, steal them from my body. No, I have to kill that thing. No, even those we're not killing. Steal, like not taking what is not being given. So this is why I also say kind of, to make sure that you, to go and pay your bill. Because you could, you could have an accident and die. So you kind of die with the debt. Yeah, this is why it's quite good if you do something like that. For everything you do, it's good to pay at the beginning. So this is why I ask you to go and pay, because especially tomorrow, if you die tomorrow, yeah, then these 2 days that you spent here, of course it creates a lot of merit, but you've created some kind of negativity of you owe LMB, food and accommodation. So, like that. So, taking what's not been given, then lying, so it's good to be in silence, so then it's taken care of, because sometimes we repeat things that, we don't really know so much if it's true, and you know how it is when we tell stories, maybe it's just me, when we tell a story it changes every time a little bit, So lying, so killing, stealing, lying, sexual contact. So tomorrow, no sexual contact. Masturbation goes under sexual contact also. So we try to cut through desire and attachment. By abstaining from those things, one sees how attached we are to them. When we're not well, we seek refuge in, sex and movies, entertainment, food. So no sexual contact, no playing music, no listening to music, no singing, dancing, like the mantra is okay. And then no perfumes, no ornaments, so you don't have to take anything off. If you wear it anyway every day, that's fine, especially if you have, earrings, things like that. Whatever you can take off tomorrow. And no perfume also. So we see how we identify with those things that we feel like, it has become part of us, so that's, we have even more attachment than just to the body. We will also have attachment to things we put on the body. We identify with them, So we take everything off that we can take off, which would not be a problem putting back. And then people go like, yo, what about this? It's been given to me by a very special person, it's a very special thing. It's like, yes, take it off. So like that. So, and then no sitting on high or expensive beds or thrones, so that only goes for me, with pride kind of thing. You only sit higher because, it's of more benefit. I would, usually when we do retreats, when I lead retreats, I sit on the ground. I prefer, it's much easier for me to concentrate than sitting out here in the void somehow. But because then you can't see me because the group is quite big, so I said, okay, well, I'll sit up here. But if I would get terribly upset about having to sit on the floor, then that would be breaking a vow if I come up here. Yeah. But for taking the precepts, I'll be on the ground with you. Yeah, because it's not good to take precepts sitting high up. So if you take precepts at home, take them sitting on the floor, not on the bed. And then only 1 meal a day. Do we have 8 now? Killing, stealing, lying, sexual contact, singing, dancing, ornaments, perfumes, that is 1. Yeah, then sitting on high beds, only 1 meal a day, and abstaining from all intoxicants. Now, of course, big question is, what is an intoxicant? Anything that clouds your mind is an intoxicant. So if your mind gets clouded by coffee, that is an intoxicant. If you can't live without coffee, then you are attached to it, So check, when you the smell, when you come into the dining room and the smell kind of has 2 hands and carries you to where the coffee is, then check, why am I drinking this? It's poison, we all know, If you think that even the caffeine in the black tea is kind of, you're addicted to it, you can't be without it, I would say abstain from drinking it. But what is especially meant is like drugs that alter the mind state, and alcohol, because it makes us go out of control. I don't think coffee makes you go out of control. I don't think black tea makes you go out of control, like alcohol does or drugs. It doesn't distort reality in the same way. Or what do you think? No. Yeah, so. But since it's also because we try to counteract our attachment, so it's kind of good to see how you would do with just herbal tea for tomorrow. It's good to check. So those are the 8 vows that we pledge. We make a promise to keep them. And you see, if you just think in the morning, oh, I'm not going to drink any coffee today, or I'm not going to smoke. Actually, tobacco goes under that also. Yeah. So if you want to give up smoking, it's very good because you pledge. You pledge not to take any of those things for 24 hours. Yeah. If you have a problem with food also, it's very good to, like if you eat too much, it's very good to pledge not to eat after midday. You'll suffer terribly because whenever we have to go against habit, it's very, very difficult. But you will be able to not to do it because you pledged in the morning. That's why we take vows. If we just decide not to drink alcohol or not to drink coffee or not to listen to music or whatever, and then the desire comes, that's it. We go and drink, we go and smoke, we go and do whatever we want to do. Whereas if you take those vows, that will help you to not do it, and then you feel really good about it in the evening. Yeah. And as I said, you'll be hungry in the evening because we're used to eat in the evening. You might not even be able to sleep properly because it's quite difficult to sleep on an empty stomach. So then we're very happy, kind of immediately offering, the food that we didn't put in our body today to somebody else. Even if it's just, even if it has been so-called thrown away, because it goes into the things that here they go into the compost, and so the raccoons eat whatever is eatable. Then afterwards the slugs and the ants and whatever, there's lots of the worms. There's a lot of creatures who can still use that, who also need food, So whatever we didn't put in our body that then turned to caca, not many creatures can do something without caca, but with the compost or whatever we didn't eat, somebody else can enjoy it. So then we try to be very happy about this. Okay, so that's the reason. Yeah. So the reason is to purify negative karma, and the reason is to create a lot of merit. So coming back to those levels of vows, or the level of morality. So the lowest level is like you do it for yourself. That's good. That's very good. If only more people were interested in that, abstaining from negative actions so that they wouldn't suffer in the future. Oh, we would have a wonderful world. No need to put locks, and nobody would get killed. Nobody would take away other people's partners. Oh, it was a wonderful world. So then, as I said, then you understand, and then the second level, of course, is because you don't want to harm others. So that's higher. That's more difficult to do. It's more difficult to keep. So don't start with the second level. It won't work. Yeah. And then the highest level is the bodhisattva. The bodhisattva doesn't want to do any negative actions because, you know why? Not because he doesn't want to harm others, because that also a non-bodhisattva can do out of compassion. It's not only the bodhisattvas who have compassion. Yeah, because he wants to attain enlightenment very, very quickly, and doing negative actions puts stones on that path, makes hindrances to attain. If you do a lot of negativities, you can't attain enlightenment. That postpones your enlightenment. So that's the purpose or the motivation for abstaining from negative actions. So a positive action or something that creates merit is not, if you have, let's say, if you're somebody who just out of habit does not kill mosquitoes, that doesn't create that much positive energy. It creates positive energy when you have, you kind of go like, oh, I want to kill this mosquito, and then you say, no, I'm not killing it. You make a conscious decision. While you have that thought, no, I'm not going to kill it, or no, I'm not going to cheat, no, I'm not going to take this, no, I'm not going to flirt with that man or woman, yeah, like this. Then that creates, while you have the thought, that creates positive energy, like the karma of abstaining from a negativity consciously. Yeah. So, but when you take vows, those vows are installed in your mind stream, and they purify negative karma and create merit for 24 hours as long as you're holding it, without you having to think about it. So it's a bit like washing machine effect. It washes while you drink coffee or eat or do other things. Yeah. So this is why they say those vows are incredibly powerful, because it purifies negative karma, even if you're not aware of it, while we're holding those vows. And the Buddha was very, very compassionate, because he could see that like holding vows is one thing that is difficult. So of course, if you hold vows and you do something positive, it's much more powerful than if you don't have vows, right? But also, if you hold vows and you break them, it's much more powerful in the negative sense than if you're not holding vows. If you kill something consciously and you're holding a vow of not killing, that's a big, big, big act of negative karma. Whereas if you are, not holding vows, it's still a big act, but it's not as big as if you're holding vows. Look, the mosquitoes are coming to visit us. They're coming to test us. Your mother is sending me, Nancy. Yeah, sometimes it's good just to offer one's body, actually. Yeah. Try to see, this whole thing with allowing, when we said with abuse, and I said, you remember that evening when we talked about abuse? And I said, if you really allow from the bottom of your heart for somebody to abuse you, you don't suffer. If you really allow that mosquito to drink your blood, it hurts. There's this thing, but your mind is in absolute peace. And I've seen that sometimes in the morning meditation. There's a bzzz, and I try to protect myself. I get all tense. Because, of course, you're the one with this gong, so you're supposed to sit still, yeah? You can't move, so you can't go like this during the meditation. So then I get all tense, kind of hoping that the mosquito goes to the other person. That's what we all do, isn't it? So then it doesn't, of course. But then my whole meditation is completely ruined. When I start to relax and say, look, it's not going to kill you, If you offer your body, and then maybe it will be at peace because it had its breakfast, and then it bites, but it's okay. And very often it doesn't bite then, but I'm relaxed. If I make the decisions, I let it bite me, I relax and I can meditate. I can be still somehow, whatever you call meditation. But if I have this wish that I shouldn't be bitten by this mosquito, I get all tense. I'm definitely not relaxed. Yeah, it's not such a nice wish, is it, that it would go to the other person. But I think many of us have that wish. Right. Okay, so the Buddha was very compassionate by seeing it's very difficult to hold vows and it's not good to break them if you have vows. So you can take vows on different levels, right? So that's one level, is you take them for 24 hours. And then you actually see the result. Very often people, once they start taking those precepts, they take again and again and again and again and again. Because in the evening you have this feeling of being really content, knowing that you have spent the day in a very, very good way. Yeah, you have been a completely non-harming person that day. And especially again, I'm not saying you shouldn't commute or whatever, but especially if you don't commute, you haven't really contributed that much to pollution or whatever. You haven't killed anything with your body. If you're in silence, you haven't slandered anybody. You haven't gossiped about anybody. You haven't made fun of anybody that can be in a hurtful way. So like this, so you're really content in the evening. It's a day really well spent, and you feel immediately the effect of it. Yeah. So, and then maybe you are ready to take the precepts maybe for 2 days in a row or for a whole week, and then maybe for a whole month or something like that. And then of course, monks and nuns vows, these are for your life, or you can give them back. But as long as you're wearing robes. As long as in your mind you're a monk or a nun, you have to keep those vows as best as possible. Of course, the lower vows, we kind of break them quite a lot, actually. So this is why we go to confession, to repair them. There's the four great vows, this you can't repair. That would be killing, having sexual contact, stealing something that would create a court case, and lying about your realizations. Saying I've realized emptiness or things like that, if not true. So then, even though you still wearing robes or have shaved hair, you're not holding vows anymore. You lose the vows like that. But the lower ones, the other ones, can be repaired. So like this. So one chooses what one wants to take, and it's good to start with the 24 hours vow. And even if you can't keep those 24 hours vows, you can take for even shorter time. Like, for example, there was the prostitute at the time of the Buddha, so she took the vows during the day, not during the night, because there's this vow of no sexual contact. And then there was a butcher also who wanted to take those vows, so he took the vows during the night, not during the day. So like that. So this very skillful way of kind of training the mind to be virtuous, consciously, like that. But vows and everything, actually, you take those things when you said, am I ready to take those vows? You take those things when you feel inspired and when you want to take those vows. Don't feel pushed into taking vows. Oh God, I have to take vows tomorrow. It's not like this. It should be a happy thing, that we have this opportunity to do this, because this is the perfect medicine to get the body that we really want to have, purifying negative karma very quickly, This method is the perfect medicine for all our sicknesses, body and mind. So we should be happy having it and then swallowing it. Even if it's bitter, it's not easy, it's difficult. Yeah. So like that. If you really know that you're sick, and even the medicine is disgusting. How many of you know Tibetan medicine? How is it? Disgusting. It's so bitter. And you have to chew it, you have to break it up in your mouth. It's really bitter. But you take it. Why? Because you realize that you need it. If you just say, oh, I want to try some Tibetan medicine, you wouldn't take more than one pill, Because there's no need. Why would you torture yourself to take those bitter things? Yeah, so like this. So when we realize that we need this as a medicine, then happily we take them. But don't feel forced, You make the decision. Oh, this is a great thing. I want to take those vows. Good. So, do you have any questions to that, to what we discussed until here? Yes, Nancy.
24 hours? Is that incorrect?
That's what I said. That's all.
Okay.
Because you're not a prostitute and you're not a butcher, so.
How does it work with them? I mean, 24 hours, I guess.
Because in your mind you say, I, blah, 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 my name, from now until sunrise tomorrow, take those 8 Mahayana precepts. And then it says, from now on, I will not kill, steal, others' possessions, lie, like this. So we take them before sunrise, and then at sunrise next day, they're finished, because that's what you decide. See, it's all mind, it's all in the mind. Holding vows is in the mind, Actually, I can give back my nuns' vows, even if there's no Lama there. If I can visualize the Buddha and say, I give back my vows, and then they're finished. Then I'm not breaking them. If I give them back before I rob a bank, then I'm not breaking the nun's vow of stealing. I'm still doing the negative action. The action is still negative, but it's not as negative as if I'm holding vows. But then I can't come back next morning and say, okay, now I take them again. So this doesn't work like that. Yeah, you give them back, then you have to take them with a master again. And it's not good to do it like that anyway. So you have to think if you want to give them up or not. Okay, any other questions about the vows in general? Yes?
Should they be taken always with a nun or a monk or someone else?
Oh, good question, yeah. It's good to take them at the beginning from somebody. Like you get the oral transmission. Then afterwards you can take them on your own. But whenever you hear that the High Lama is giving precepts, 8 Mahayana precepts, you should always go, because then you get the blessing of that oral transmission. So that's very good. Like the Dalai Lama, when he is in Dharamsala at Sakadava, which is also Wheel Turning Day, when he's there he gives vows, and everybody goes, like 4 o'clock in the morning, everybody goes down to the temple. There's hundreds of people there taking vows from him. It's very nice. If only we could get people to take more vows. Actually, that was a practice, Lama's opposite, when there was danger of earthquake around here. Yeah, so he advised for the students to take the 8 Mahayana precepts, because, why do we have earthquakes? Because it's in people's karma to having to endure an earthquake. So by taking vows, we purify that karma, so then there is no earthquake. Yeah. But if we don't purify and we're just frightened of it, then there will be earthquakes. Yeah. So the world situation would definitely change if people would start taking vows as much as possible. And if you can take vows with this thought, I'm taking those vows, or as we're doing this practice, Medicine Buddha for world peace, definitely the world would change. Yeah, but we don't have enough faith, we don't have enough kind of diligence and perseverance to do it, unfortunately. Yeah, Gaina?
About lowering the murder rate.
Yeah, in Washington.
In Washington.
With just silent meditation or meditation on loving kindness. I think 40%. They lowered the crime rate in Washington, D.C. Yeah, when a lot of people meditated together. Yeah, so then for that period there was the decline in crime rate. New York City also. So we should never forget, we can make a difference. We have great responsibility.
Which is why we started the Sunday evening meditation, where the second half is loving kindness. So I'd actually taken a criminology class and learned about that. So
yeah. So in case you don't know, it's happening here every Sunday evening at 7, I think, yeah? Up in the Memorial Shrine, just silent meditation and then loving kindness. Yeah, so of course the more people come, there's no point, watching the news and then feeling frightened and anxious and complaining. This doesn't help. It just makes you very tense. But this is something you could do, even if it's too far for you to come here, then do it at home. Think, some people at LMB, they're meditating 7 o'clock. Yeah, so then I'll do same thing, same time. Like we have the last Vipassana course I did, which lasted the whole month. And so we made this agreement that we would all, then we go out, disperse in the world, because it was in India. We would all do the same kind of meditation, the same prayers every Sunday, 7:15 to 8. And as much as possible I keep this. And whenever I can keep it, I'm very happy. Yeah, if I have to do other things, then it's kind of difficult. So it's good to kind of continue to do those things. So if you can't come at 7, but you see, doing silent meditation is much easier to do in a group, because if you do at home and you're a beginner, you won't be able to sit a full hour. You'll sit like 10 minutes at the most. Yeah, because then, cup of tea, toilet, or this, or I forgot to call my mom. And there's a TV program and whatever. Whereas if we're in a group, it's quite easy to sit and meditate, do things that we don't like to do in a group. It's very easy. So we should take that, the energy of the group. But if you can't come and you would like to participate in that, for lowering the crime rate, for world peace, then just sit at home from 7 to 8, wherever we are, and try to, have this this awareness that somebody at LMB is also meditating. Okay? Any other questions? No. One takes them before sunrise. Yeah. I guess that's to make you get up. Because also, you see, you take the vows because it's, during the day. Anyway. But you can take them at home. You can take the prayer book with you. You can take them at home. Yeah, so this is why. So there are certain rules that we should maybe not so much bend. As I said, like for when there's really a very important reason, like the prostitute who couldn't. Of course, you can't take vows if you know that you're going to break them, like that. But in general, they take in the morning. So if you want to take them, you take the prayer book. You take them at home, but then please, then just return the prayer book. Okay, so anything else you want to ask? Okay. So page 13 in the morning prayers, I think it says. So we'll just go through the ceremony very quickly so you know basically what you're doing. The Guru is Buddha, Guru is Dharma, Guru is Sangha also. Guru is the creator of all happiness. To all Gurus I go for refuge. So again, that's the refuge. Everything in Buddhist practices starts with refuge. Generating bodhicitta. To accomplish my own and others' aims, I generate the mind seeking enlightenment. 3 times. Then, because we invite the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas to give us the vows, we make this place very beautiful. We imagine making, like everywhere, may the ground be pure, free of roughness of pebbles and so forth. May be the nature of lapis lazuli and as smooth as the palm of one's hand. So that, it brightens up the mind. The mind doesn't feel well in a dirty place. Yeah, so we make the place in like a pure land, very beautiful. Then we fill it with offerings. May human and divine offerings actually arranged and mentally created. Clouds of finest amount of order. Offerings fill the entire space. Then we say the offering cloud mantra 3 times. This is to increase the offerings, or if our visualization is not so powerful, then we just say this mantra and then it becomes very powerful. Then the Buddhas can receive the offerings. So this is the power of the mantra. Then the power of the truth, by the power of the truth of the 3 jewels, of the blessings of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, by the power of the great might of the completed 2 collections. Completed 2 collections, it's like method and wisdom. And of the completely pure and inconceivable sphere of reality, this is ultimate truth, emptiness, absence of inherent existence. May all these offerings become just so. The merely labeled offerings that are offered to the merely labeled Buddhas, and the merely labeled Buddhas experience merely labeled bliss, which then comes back to us as blessings in the form of merely labeled light rays. So this is the power of the truth. One should kind of be able to. One should be able to think about those things. The 3 spheres of reality. I, the one who's making the offerings themselves, the one who's receiving the offerings, completely free of any inherent existence. This is basically why we suffer. You see, as long as we haven't understood emptiness, no matter how many practices we do with no matter how many Buddhas, we will still suffer. So this we have to include the wisdom part. We have to understand emptiness. So we have to, as much as possible, include it. Even if it's a practice about healing and compassion. Yeah, it goes together. Then we invite the wisdom beings, where it says invocation, page 15. So we invite the enlightened energy of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas to come here. Protector of all beings without exception, divine destroyer of the intractable legions of Mara, perfect knower of all things, Bhagavan and retinue, please come here. Then we would stand up and do 3 prostrations with the prostration mantra, Om Namo Manjushya, Namo Shushya, Namo Tamashya Soha, which means Om, homage to the glorious, lovely one, homage to the very glorious, homage to the most glorious, Soha. So that's the mantra that is being said with the prostrations. Then this next verse here, that's kind of optional. We can do it, we cannot do it. To the Guru, Founder, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni Buddha, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. Please grant me your blessings. We might recognize it's the same kind of thing that one says with the medicine Buddhas. Yeah, one takes refuge, makes offerings, prostrates, and asks for blessings, so that we open the door to receive the blessings. The Buddha's blessings, they're always coming, just that we are not open to receive them. So by saying that verse, we open the door. Then page 15, the 7-limb prayer. That's the same as we did in the last meditation. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech and mind. It's the humble, appreciating mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. It's the offering mind, the mind that gives, generous mind. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time is the mind that regrets and makes a strong determination not to repeat those actions, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. That's the mind that counteracts jealousy. We're happy with the happiness of others. Then please remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. That's the requesting mind. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. You see, why one does this, it's like preparing the field in order to plant seeds. Yeah? If you leave the field as it is with all the stones, you will have a crop, but not a very good crop. Whereas this is like, just with those 7 limbs and taking refuge, generating bodhicitta, one purifies a lot of negative imprints. That means one takes the stones out of the field. Yeah, one prepares the field really well, so then the seeds will give a good crop. Or it's the warm-up for the marathon. We see many people, they want to meditate, they come from their work and they just clonk down on their cushion and then they think they can place the mind on the breath or on something or meditate on compassion. Not working. You have to warm the mind up by creating those 7 minds. This is why we have the 7-limb prayer. Then your meditation will work much easier, much better. Yeah, but just coming and just sitting down, it's difficult. Meditation itself is difficult. And then if we don't do it without warm-up, without those things, then not much happens. I mean, preparation for actual meditations, that can last up to 1 hour if you do this properly. Especially if you do it Lama Zopa Rinpoche, when he meditates on preparation, like the motivation, yeah, and then the dedication. Hours sometimes, you know. And he doesn't do that to make us suffer. He does it so that we create merit. And then we're sitting here hoping for it to finish, isn't it? It's a bit like with the dentist, you know. We know that we have to go, but the moment we sit in the chair, we hope that it will be finished. We will be over really soon. But we know we have to be there. Yeah. So, and why do we have to be there? Because it's my teeth. I have my. It's not the dentist's fault. Yeah. Then page 17, we offer the mandala. That's the same as in the sadhana. So then page 19. So one would kneel on one's right knee. So here it says that you have to prostrate again. I'm not sure about this, whether you really have to prostrate 2 times, but maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I'll check with Geshe Dragpa in San Francisco, because that's a new thing, that you have to prostrate twice. But anyway, one can stand up, make 3 prostrations again, then you'll kneel on your right knee and your hands together in the prostration, and your head bowed. Visualize Guru Avalokiteshvara before you, generate the profound bodhicitta motivation for taking the precepts, and repeat 3 times. Avalokiteshvara is the Buddha of compassion. It's over there, just above that glass case, with 4 arms, and then there's another one next to it with 11 heads and 1,000 arms, or whatever you feel more comfortable to visualize. You visualize. And so it's Guru Avalokiteshvara is giving you the precepts. You know, then it's quite easy to keep them. Yeah, it becomes official. You get them from somebody else. So we have to repeat this verse 3 times. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions, so they're kind of witness, yeah? Please pay attention to me. Just as the previous Tathagatas, foe destroyers, perfectly completed Buddhas who like the divine wise horse and the great elephant, those are 2 kind of myth animals in the Tibetan, in the Buddhist tradition. Like the divine horse and the great elephant did what had to be done, performed actions, laid down the burden of the 5 contaminated aggregates, subsequently attained their own welfare, completely exhausted their fetters to existence, and had perfect speech, well-liberated minds, and well-liberated wisdom, for the welfare of all sentient beings, in order to benefit, in order to liberate, in order to eliminate famine, in order to eliminate war, in order to stop the harm of the 4 elements, and in order to eliminate sickness, in order to fully complete the 37 practices harmonious with enlightenment, and in order to definitely actualize the unsurpassed result of perfect complete enlightenment, perfectly performed the restoring and purifying ordination. So basically what it says is like all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas before have taken those vows. Yeah. Similarly, also I who am called, and then you say your name, from this time until sunrise tomorrow. Yeah, see, so he is very clear. For the welfare of all sentient beings, in order to benefit, in order to liberate, in order to eliminate famine, in order to eliminate war, in order to stop the harm of the 4 elements, in order to eliminate sickness, in order to fully complete the 37 practices harmonious with enlightenment, and in order to definitely actualize the unsurpassed result of perfect complete enlightenment, shall perfectly undertake the restoring and purifying ordination. So, restoring, purifying ordination is the 8 vows. Okay? That's pretty clear. It says what it says. It's like you say what you're about to do. And then, just as the foe destroyers of the past have abandoned all misconduct of body, speech, and mind, such as taking the lives of others, so shall I, for the sake of all beings, abandon for 1 day these wrong actions and devote myself to the pure practice of the training. Then the commitment prayer to keep the precepts from now on: I shall not kill, steal others' possessions, engage in sexual activity, or speak false words. Oh, I found the 35 Buddhas. Somebody might have found them as well. Yeah, Nancy found them as well. So they're in the precepts in some of the books. I shall avoid intoxicants from which many mistakes arise. I shall not sit on large, high, or expensive beds. I shall not eat food at the wrong times. So food is like this. Food, you don't eat after midday. So, but because here we have summertime, so it's like when it's 12, then it's really 11. So it's okay to eat until, let's say, 1. But by 1 you should be finished. So this is why we start at 11:45. Yeah? So make sure that you finished eating at 1. And after that, nothing solid. So you can drink juices without pulp. Like, a papaya put in a blender, that's no go. That is pulp. Yeah, whereas juicing carrots and beets and things like that, that's juice. As long as there's no pulp, no flesh from the vegetable or from the fruit in it. You can drink diluted milk. So if you want to have milk tea or, hot chocolate, I bought 2 jars of Milo, so we can have that also in the evening. So you can put some milk in there, but it has to be diluted. Best is half-half. Half milk, half water. Then what else can you have? You can have, of course, as much water as you want. You can have sugar as much as you want, honey, things like that. That's not considered food, but anything solid and whole milk is considered food. Okay? Also, at that day, when if you take the precepts on your own, you don't put onions, garlic, meat, eggs, very spicy food like chili, and radishes in your food when you take precepts. This is what is called black food. So those people who do yoga, they know that it affects the energies in the body, makes the energies agitated. And also garlic, definitely. Garlic and egg, especially for the monks, is why the monks shouldn't eat that. Also, it increases your sexual desire, your sexual energy. That's why, yeah. You should kind of abstain from that. Not as a lay person. If you have sexual energy, that's okay. As a lay person, it's no problem. But I mean, it's good to think about this. Sometimes there's a lot of suffering in this world because of our uncontrolled sexual energy. People just live out whatever desire comes into their head. There's a lot of suffering because of that. There's nothing wrong with sex, as long as it's done in a way so that nobody gets harmed or hurt. That you always think there's 2 people involved here. It's not just about you. It's about the other person too. Right, so I shall not eat food at the wrong times. I shall avoid singing, dancing and playing music. That's just for those 24 hours, otherwise there's nothing wrong with it. Then we see whether we are attached to it or not. And probably you have the whole day, you have some music going on in your head. Yeah. And I shall not wear perfumes, garlands or ornaments. Actually, see, this is what is wrong with music. Sometimes people say, oh, what's wrong with music? If you really want to go on a long meditation retreat, music can become one of the biggest hindrances. That when you're very familiar with music, it just plays and plays and plays and plays and plays when you want to concentrate on your breath, for example. Yeah, and you can't. The songs just come back again and again and again and again. And it's amazing, when I hear. I was on the bus coming back from San Francisco, so then I was listening to some teachings, but I also have an FM thing on that MP3 player. So I started kind of fiddling around with it, and there was one station who played kind of old pop songs when I was young. I still knew all those words. And it came like so spontaneous. If you would, ask me to recite the 51 mental factors, not sure. It's there again, as the moment we have attachment, we learn very quickly. Yeah? The moment we experience pleasure, we learn very, very quickly. Yeah, I was so surprised how this was as if I would have heard them yesterday, and I haven't heard them for many years. I hardly ever listened to music. Phew. And I could see my attachment. I was so happy. I didn't want to switch back to the teachings. But then it got frustrating because then they started playing music, which probably is after me, so I came up later. I didn't recognize it. Then it wasn't pleasant anymore. Yeah, it's quite amazing. It's quite funny. So this is what is wrong with playing music. The mind gets used to it, and then you can't get rid of it, and it takes your attention away from other things. Then perfumes. Well, when you meditate a lot, your senses get very subtle. So if somebody wears perfume next to you when you're meditating, it's overpowering. Yeah, and it draws. Perfume draws the senses out. In meditation, you're supposed to withdraw the senses. Yeah, so. And the problem with perfume is, I think, like people, you get used to it, so you yourself, you don't smell it anymore. Yeah, so then you put on more and more. But people are not used to have perfume around them. Then for them, it's very overpowering. Garlands and ornaments, well, of course, because we're attached to those things and we identify with it. Then just as the arhats have avoided wrong actions such as taking the lives of others, so shall I avoid wrong actions such as taking the life of others. May I quickly attain enlightenment, and may the living beings who are experiencing the various sufferings be released from the ocean of cyclic existence. So then people say, what happens if I break a vow? So a vow is only broken, let's say the vow that you probably break is the singing one, because there's a tune coming up and you happily sing along. Yeah, so this might be broken. Or the vow of not eating. If you used to have biscuits around you in your room or somewhere, and then you feel a bit hungry in the afternoon, and then you just pop a biscuit in your mouth. So this is also very easy to break, that kind of vow. So then the vow is broken, we go, oh, it's already in your mouth. So you go, oh. And then you think, oh, it's okay. That's stupid anyway, those vows. And it's already in my mouth. I might as well swallow it and eat the rest of the packet, Then you break the vow. Then the vow is broken. When you know what you're doing and you continue doing it, and then you go, oh, great that I broke this. I think I'll go and get another packet. And you have no regret and no determination to continue keeping the vows and whatever. It's only then that the vow is broken. If you feel yourself singing or eating a biscuit and you go, oh, and you stop and you regret and you think, oh, I have to be more mindful next time. And so like that. Yeah, then the vow is not broken. Still, it's kind of, it has a little, how to say. Huh? No, it's not flexible. It has a little, when, you have a twig. It's not completely broken, but it's chipped. How you say chipped? No, chipped. Huh? Cracked. Cracked. It's cracked. So we have to do something about this crack. So the crack is this mantra here. It's the mantra of pure morality. And so you have to repeat that 21 times when you become aware that you've broken one of the vows. This is a longer mantra that one learns by heart very quickly. Because... So it's okay. You see, the problem is not breaking the vow. That's not the problem. The problem is not seeing that we're creating negativities. Doing negative actions, that's not such a big problem when we know that this action is negative, because then that's the first step of stopping of doing it. When we want to make amendments, then we know that we have to do something about this. But when we just keep going and say, oh, there's nothing I can do, that is the problem. Negative actions we will do because our mind is pretty negative at the moment, so that's okay. We don't have to beat ourselves up, but then not making amendments, not doing anything about it. So the doing something about it, the action here, is this mantra. We'll sing it tomorrow morning 21 times together. It's also the mantra that helps us keep pure morality. That's why it's called the mantra of pure morality. And then, of course, the fourth power, strong determination to be more mindful. You see, holding vows helps you to be mindful. At the moment we have those series of, the four mindfulnesses combined with the four noble truths. So holding vows helps you to be mindful of body, of speech, of mind. Yeah? If we're not holding vows, we're not mindful, we're not careful. Mindful means also careful. We take care, we start to care about ourselves. We start to care about our own happiness, a healthy body, a healthy mind, abstaining from negative actions. Then the prayer to keep pure morality, May I maintain faultless morality of the rules and immaculate morality. May the perfection of moral conduct be completed by keeping morality purely and untainted by pride. So this is very good, untainted by pride, meaning, if you see you are taking precepts and the person next to you didn't come, then you don't look down on them in the next session think, oh, they didn't take precepts. Not like this. You rejoice that you have taken precepts. If you don't feel like taking the precepts, that's absolutely fine, that's absolutely legal. So you rejoice with the others, who have taken precepts. You're not thinking, oh, stupid, what they... I'm sure this is not going to work. Like this, not like this, You can't get out of bed at 5, that's fine, but then you think, you maybe half awake, you think, oh great, some other people are in the Gompa, they're taking precepts, you get the same merit. If you can really rejoice. But still it's better to take them yourself, yeah? And then we make 3 prostrations, and then we think, this is my contribution to the peace and happiness of all sentient beings, and in particular to the peace and happiness of all sentient beings of this world. So we see that we've done something for world peace, because for this one day we will be a completely non-harming person. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Is tomorrow a day of silence? Is that the idea?
Well, I think we do like today, but maybe today until after lunch, that we keep silence until you finished eating lunch. So it's half day silence.
I'm going to have to leave and come back.
Oh, that's fine, because silence is not a vow here, There are some practices where silence is actually a vow. And if you want some cushions, maybe... Oh, no, there's one free one there. Another one there, okay. We're just about to start the sadhana, actually, Paula. Do you think it's okay for them to do a sadhana? Prayers? Oh, I see, okay. Okay, good. So, actually, if you want more cushions, because maybe somebody can just quickly pop down to the pine room, because there are more small cushions in the pine room. There's one empty space there. No, really, try to sit on it. You're not very comfortable there, are you? You're comfortable now, but you won't be very comfortable after a while. I think it's okay, Sharon, so we can take up. Do you have texts, yeah? Everybody has a text who wants to stay for the prayers. Now we'll pray for about an hour. So it's not, silence is not a precept, it's not a vow. So if you need to talk when you go out, that's fine. Just make sure that it's not lying. Because otherwise you break a vow. Because one of the vows is not lying.
That's what I'm sort of concerned about is, this exaggerating or...
Good night. Thank you very much for coming. Bye. Yeah, thanks. Are you okay? We didn't terribly bore you? No? Okay. Good. Good night. Sleep well. So, so then that means you have to be mindful of your speech. So you try to speak as little as possible, Any other questions? Yes, Kaina?
I don't know if this is the right place, but I feel like having taken tantric vows that I'm already following some of these vows. Is that true, or?
What do you mean you're following some of them?
I've already taken, no killing, no stealing.
Yeah, the five is in the tantric vows. So but it's still good to take them again and again and again and again, because by taking them again, actually, you refresh the ones that you have not broken, and you actually repair the ones that you have broken. And tantric vows, are incredibly difficult to keep. Even Atisha, who was supposedly Buddha, he said, I can keep my monk's vows pretty well. Bodhisattva vows very difficult. Tantric vows absolutely impossible. So he had this little stupa with him. Whenever you see Atisha, there's always a stupa there, And he immediately confessed to the stupa every time that he felt that he had broken a vow. So you see, breaking the vow is not such a big problem, but then not doing anything about it, that's the problem. Thinking it's okay, that's the problem. As long as we know that this is not good to do like this, then there's big chance for change. Because the mind itself then will adjust toward, because it doesn't make us feel good when we know that it's wrong. So slowly the mind goes in that direction and it adjusts itself. We have a mental factor of wisdom. So it's okay, we have to trust that one also. But just knowing that it's not a good thing to do it like this is very good to purify and then to make for the mind to change. But as long as we think, you see, our problem is that we always try the easy way out. Like we find ourselves excuses for doing negativities. That's dangerous. Yeah, that's very dangerous. And it's quite amazing when we do these, Intro to Buddhism courses, and then I start to explain the 10 non-virtuous actions. We did them in the meditation today, yeah? Like 3 of speech, 3 of body, 4 of mind. Oh, a bit talking too much today, maybe. 3 of body, 4 of speech, 3 of mind. So when people hear that for the first time, they're very easy to understand. Everybody knows what killing is. Everybody knows what stealing is. Everybody knows what taking somebody else's partner is, like sleeping around with somebody who already has a partner. This is very easy to understand what that is. Everybody knows what lying is, slander, dividing people with your speech, gossiping. Everybody knows what envy is. Everybody knows what harmful thoughts are. Wrong views may be a little bit difficult to understand. So the list is very clear. I'm still waiting for the person who says, thank you very much, now I know. People always go, what about if? We try to find situations where we are allowed to do those negative actions. Those negative actions are negative by nature. This is why we have this very clear list of the 10 negative actions. So we shouldn't try to negotiate them. That's very harmful. We should just accept them and say, yeah, that's negative. So I will, as much as possible, abstain from them instead of kind of inventing good motivation for being negative. We cannot live a life without doing negative actions, by the way, because that's what samsara is all about. So we have to do negative actions just in order to survive, but at least knowing that they're negative, that's the point here. This is why, samsara perpetuates itself. Because with the mind that we have, we can't do anything that is 100% positive, because everything is always flawed by thinking there's a real I who is doing a real action to a real other. So it's covered with ignorance.
The question I have is, on the Tibetan calendar, there's quite a lot of days that say precepts, and I haven't done those yet because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. So presumably similar reasons, because they're holy days, or for whatever reason.
The energy is more powerful. It's like usually full moon, new moon, and the 8th of the Tibetan day. This is why, funny enough, as a Buddhist, as a layperson, you kind of, it's advised that you take those vows on full moon days and on new moon days, because the energy is stronger. So then, of course, then no sexual contact. Yeah. So one of the if you read in the karma section, one of the sexual misconduct is like wrong person, wrong place, wrong time, wrong organ. So wrong time is full moon and new moon. So if a Westerner reads that, they go like, what? But it's so beautiful to make love on the full moon, So they don't understand. So it's because, as a Buddhist, you're supposed to take precepts at those days. So if you seduce somebody, you make them break their vows. That's why it's sexual misconduct. So for ordinary people who don't take precepts, it's not sexual misconduct. So this, sometimes it's good to understand those things. Any other questions?
Well, I was looking at this, and there's the 5 lay person vows, right?
Yeah.
There seems to be 9, being an accountant here, there seems to be 9 precepts to me rather than 8.
Okay. Because the singing, dancing, ornaments, perfume goes into 1. That's 1. That all has to do with entertainment and attachment. Yeah. So, good observation. But wrong conclusion.
Cognizer.
Inferential cognizer, depending on a sign. Yeah, wrong sign. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. In general, yes. Yeah. There is exceptions, like, the not eating in the evening. So if that would be a health hazard, then you can skip that one and you can eat in the evening. But then you have to be very clear in the morning that I will eat in the evening because of health hazard. So then some people start smiling and say, oh great, I'll just have a health hazard. If you do like this, then there's no point taking the precepts. Then better not take them. If you already from the beginning try to find a way to not keep them, it's like, why would you want to take them? Yeah. But this is how we are, It's like, oh great, then I'll just go into that one and I can have dinner.
Same with medication. If you feel it's...
Medication is not food. Medication is not food. Even during the Nunes you can take medication. Even on the non-drinking day, but you can't take them with order. So, like in the Nunes. So I was taking my Tibetan medicine without order. That was really, that was suffering. But then I felt very brave because there was 2 of us, and your tongue gets really black because they're black. So that day you were in silence also, so we'd come down and go like, no, because he couldn't talk, yeah, and they're all happy. I already took mine. Like, ugh. Any other question? So yeah, so medicine is not food. So if you need to take in the evening, that's fine.
You need to learn how to prostrate and to how to pronounce the mantras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good it's good for your own mind if you know how to prostrate, so that we're so insecure, and so if we prostrate in a group of old Buddhists and then we're not so sure whether we're doing the right thing, that might prevent us actually from prostrating because we're frightened of doing a mistake. You were not here before dinner because I explained the prostrations, and then I also explained the mandala, and I can really see how people would like to learn. But, like this gesture here, by offering the mandala, but they don't dare to practice in public. Like when they practice, they kind of practice down here so that nobody sees. So it's good to know how to do things properly for the sake of your own peace of mind. Yeah, sure. But not for the Buddhas. For the Buddhas, it's okay if you don't know how to do this. A prostration one does it out of gratitude, devotion, appreciation. So that should be expressed in the prostration. Then, of course, it's the right way of doing prostrations.
Before taking the precept.
So you watch somebody who does, and then you think that this person is doing it right, or I can show you after, because we've already done it. So, yeah. So yeah, it's good to know how to do things properly, and with the pronunciation, you do as best as you can. Otherwise, you stray.